right, let's see, are we live? And if so, is everything doing what it's supposed to do? So give me a couple moments here to get myself situated, and we'll settle in, we'll do some design work. Looks like I'm live. Let's see if I'm audible. We'll settle in, we'll do some design work. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Looks like I'm live. Let's see if I'm audible. We'll settle in, we'll do some design work. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Looks like I'm... Yeah, okay, that's gonna work. And I can drop that down there like that. Get that out of your ear. And let me do my social media posting here. And while I do that, I will regale you with my origin story and tell you what it is that we've got going on here. So if you're catching us in the future and you know the score, then you're welcome to skip forward like a minute or whatever before we get into what we're getting into for the day. Otherwise, if you're joining me live now, or if you're catching me after stream in the future and you're curious about what's going on here, well, my name is Phil Kearney. What is up? I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish online. I'm a D&D and a Magic the Gathering enthusiast. I'm legitimately thrilled that Wizards of the Coast owns both IPs because they can do cool things like Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, or like Strixhaven Curriculum in Chaos, or the Theros campaign setting, or however many of them they want to do. They also have the Plane Shift PDFs that are free on DMsGuild. Well, what I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast since '95. I've been a freelance illustrator since '99, and I started creating content on the DMsGuild in 2017 when Wizards started publishing Magic the Gathering settings for 5e. And hold on real quick. As a significant, as a pretty big MTG D&D enthusiast, we were waiting for some time for us to start seeing Magic the Gathering stuff actually start showing up in D&D stuff. Like, they've owned the IP for 17 years now. It's good that they finally started doing something about that. But when they did, 5e's mentality is whatever narrative you've got going on, distill it, boil it down to where it makes sense inside of the core mechanics. So instead of them inventing the color mana system, they instead took all these different Magic the Gathering settings and expressed them as though they're using Vancian spell slot magic with the 8 schools that are in the player's handbook. And you're Boros, but here's your 8 schools of magic to mess around with, and here's your spell slots. Good day, sir. That was really unsatisfying for mechanical nuts that love both D&D and color magic. So I created the 5 color magic spell point variant rule system. Let me get myself out of the way here, and so I've been building those books since 2017. They're on the DMsGuild. Let me fix my screens here real quick, and I'll show you some of that stuff here. By the way, I'm on the X Twitter platform, so if you're also on X Twitter, I'm at Phil Kearney. Coupons, all the illustrations that I post, like here at the beginning of the stream, to take a look at the cool stuff that I make, works in progress, and just general stuff going on. The X Twitter platform is a pretty good place to be. Here on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when we're live in the future. Thanks a lot for folks that have really been taking an interest in these projects. It makes me feel good that I can connect with other people that geek out on this techie bit of the game engine that doesn't necessarily increase any kind of it doesn't take longer or necessarily even shorter to resolve the game. It just approaches it from a different direction. The color mana spell here's a Spelljammer book that I did. A Spell Point Warlocks just went gold medal. Thanks everyone for gold medal on Spell Point Warlocks. That is my first gold medal, and it's a pay what you want. God bless you folks. You didn't even have to buy it, but half the people that even see it end up buying it. It's amazing. It's been amazing. Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica is all 10 guilds converted into a Warlock patron. So warlocks become guild mages. So a Boros warlock is like a Boros guild mage. Not only are they gaining renown, but it's their patrons. So if they make a pact with them, they can get pact boons. I have a whole book about it, which is right here, Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica. Check it out. Super freaking fun. We're going to be rebuilding that for 2024 mechanics. So that's where we're leading into right now. On top of that, there's the Spell Point Warlocks, but you can also pick that up down here in the 5 color mana Spell Point bundle. If you've seen my stream before, bear with me, but for the newcomers that might be checking this out for the first time, the way the color mana system is, get rid of the 8 schools, get rid of spell slots. Instead, use 5 color magic: white, blue, black, red, green from Magic the Gathering. Here's some basic ideas called aspects that are like technical or philosophical concepts that exist inside of the 5e D&D game space. And then, like for example, white is into divinity and healing and protect light and restraint, while black is into control instead of restraint, and instead of light, it's into darkness. And parallel to divinity, is interested in soul magic, while green magic is into healing, like white is into healing, and spirits, kind of like how black magic is into soul. So there's opposites, and then there's parallels. So they make these really cool combinations when you add colors together. But from our perspective, is if a spell or an effect would have one of these aspects, you could describe it using that color. So if a shield of protection, right, like a magic shield of protection, it might radiate white magic when you just look at it. And then you could look at it with True Scene or Identify or Detect Magic, and you might see that there's layers of color underneath that blinding white. Just off the cuff, it's most obvious that it's protection magic. But like maybe inside of that aura, when you turn on Magic Vision, you can see there's actually a lattice of blue. And that blue is about illusion, air, mind, suppress, water. A lot of teleport effects are both white and blue. So like there might be as a reaction teleport to another location sort of effect. Or like if it had like layers of red inside of it, maybe it had like resistance to fire, for instance. Here's white, blue, black, red, and green, the colors, and here's the different types of damage that are in D&D, and here's how the colors break down according to the cards from Magic the Gathering. It actually works out really nice. Like acid and poison are both present in a lot of green and black creatures, like snakes, frogs, giant insects, and stuff like that from green, along with spiders and scorpions and like insects like that generally kind of feel like black or green as well. So poison and acid effects that are common to those are both black and green. It's very intuitive in that sense. So like that shield we're talking about, if it had like layers of red underneath it, maybe it has fire resistance, for instance. Or maybe it can create a force globe. That would be on theme with white, red, and blue. So like you could have like this white, blue, red layering inside of the shield when you identify it, identifying to help visually express a narrative means of expressing how magic in your world works. The demon's eyes flashed with red as it raged. You know that it's thinking about catching you on fire, frying you with electricity, maybe blowing out your eardrums with thunder, or just disintegrating you with force. Who knows what it's thinking about? But if its eyes flash with black, maybe it's thinking about melting you, or turning you into a skeleton, or burning a hole through you with poison, or melting your brain. Who knows what that demon's thinking about? But he flashes red and black magic as he talks to you or engages in activities. It's like you can narrate it like the frost giant heaves its massive mallet, and as it descends, it flashes in a cold blue energy, and on impact, it deals 3d10 cold damage to everybody within 10 feet of it in a cone outward. So like that, you can express it that way, and it hits, and you describe the damage. It's like, here's the effect, here's the color, here's the effect. So it leads from what you're doing through what it is into what it does. So you can flow mechanically through the narrative into the mechanics, because color is what they call a ludonarrative mechanic now, where it is a literal game component that describes the environment or the game space that the game occurs inside of. So it's a brilliant system that Wizards hasn't figured out how to implement in their IPs yet. So that's my passion, creating those kind of systems. This is the same kind of attention that I gave to the Spell Point or the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book that I built, which is mostly about how to increase or decrease scale for ship, fleet, asteroid combat, and how to be able to scale out and perceive, and like how to quantify vast distances like millions, 10 millions, 100 millions of miles, or the infinite space of astral. We're able to quantify and make it a gameable space for people that are really interested in tactical ship combat and like the depth that 5e combat offers. So that's where I specialize in like a unique aspect of the game mechanic, and then blowing that apart and rebuilding it so that it can express the game world in a different way, opening up new types of campaigns or styles of play. So like the role-playing game that I'll eventually publish through a Kickstarter on ttrpg and on my Patreon. I don't have a name for it yet, but basically it's a Beckney style game where everything is an ability check. Super basic idea. It's almost like it's like an inverted or like a reverse cipher system sort of game. I've talked about it before, but that was the result of me like doing a real intense deep dive into what can we really do with ability checks in the D&D game engine if we're really paying attention to bounded accuracy. So that's the origin of that game. So that could be an OGL license or a creative content license when I do it. So when I build the Kickstarter, it'll mostly just be there to just support me doing this stuff on screen for you guys when I build it. So all my books are free preview. Oh yeah, that's right. The point was combining color and combining aspects gets you to your spell list. So like in the instance of Featherfall, blue or green. Blue is like air, wind magic, while green is nature and spirits. What does Featherfall do? It makes you light as a feather so you can drift on the breeze. Kind of makes sense there. If we go up to third level, I'll use this as two more examples. Is Fireball, bam, as red can be. Red, there you go. And then like Raised Dead, for instance, is another great instance. No, it's Revivify now. White and blue. White, remember, divinity magic, and black is soul magic. So what does Revivify do? It brings a soul back from the afterlife. So it's like just the it's so good. So the way the system works is you use spell points, and so the level of spell is the number of points that you spend. First level 1 point, ninth level 9 points, easy peasy. Now if you're going, you could just leave it like that. And you just spend points. It's like a really good, efficient spell point system. Works fantastic. I've been playtesting it and using it in campaigns for 7 years now. I ran a full 1 to 20 level campaign with it, as well as a few shorter, level 3 to 6 campaigns, level 1 to 5 campaign, and then some other instances. Since we're doing martial powers, we've been using that same spell point system for all of our builds, and we've been doing that for like 6 months now. So I've had 7 years of experience at every level of play using this mana system, and it works freaking fantastic. Just trust it; it works. And it's actually it actually curves. It's actually a little bit more gentle than what is new in 2024. 2024 actually accelerates the power of everything, including surpassing what this system provided. So this system actually sits inside of the game power space of 2024 right now. So that's fantastic. So when you if you want to cast a Fireball spell, it's a red only. It's an all red spell. So Animate Dead, black, of course. Undeath is awesome. So if I want to cast Animate Dead, I have to spend 3 mana to do it, but only 1 point has to be black. So if I have a mana pool of like say 10 points, I can have 2 points in black, 7 points in white, and let's say 1 point in blue. And so I've got those 3 colors. I can cast 1 blue spell, I can cast 3 red spells, 2 red spells, and I can cast 7 white spells. When I run out of white, when I run out of a color, I can't cast that color spell anymore. But if like Bestow Curse is both white and black, so I've got 9 mana in my pool that's either white or black. I've got no problem casting Bestow Curse as long as I have at least 3 mana. So then you have to sort of figure out what color am I going to burn out of my pool first. But whenever you take a short or a long rest, whether you get mana back or not, whenever you take a short or a long rest, you can reconfigure the mana, devote it to a new color, any colors that you want. So like if after it was 10, I'm down to 5 points now. I've got 1 point of blue, and I've got 4 points of white. I think I'm going to need more black. Let's reconfigure my mana. I've got 5 left. Let's put 3 in black, 1 in white, and 1 in blue, and let's go. Then I scope my spells. If we're just using generic mana and we're not actually assigning a color to each point, then it just becomes narrative. I'm casting a black spell. I describe it as a black effect. I spend 3 points of mana. Bacon. Let's go. But if I want to hard boil in the color mana system and be strict with my mana, then when I'm out of white, I can't cast any more white spells. So I want to sculpt my spell list to work with the pool of mana that I have. And if I'm being really hard-nosed, like if I'm playing Ravnica, where everyone is in a guild, and each guild has only 2 colors, like Orzhov. The Orzhov Syndicate is white and black. So like Bestow Curse, that's completely their bread and butter. Actually, yeah, they would curse you and then charge you to get rid of it. They're mafia like that. So white and black mana makes perfect sense for them. So they would, if they have mana, they can throw a curse on you. That feels pretty appropriate. Boros is Aura Vitality. Selesnya is white and green. Like they would, as long as they have 3 mana, they would always be able to use Aura Vitality because those are the only 2 colors that they operate in. But what happens if Selesnya wants to have access to Conjure Barrage, which is a blue-red spell? You could go and research it, spending dollars and time to learn the spell in the colors that you want. Instead of being blue-red, it could be white or green. Or if you wanted to research it, both. Or what you could do is you could learn the spell once, and then you could learn it a second time, so you have less spells prepared. But when you prepare it the second time, you can decide which color it is, either white or green in this instance. So now I can add Conjure Barrage to say white for my Selesnya character, and let's say it's going to be black for my Orzhov character, right? So Selesnya as a Conjure Barrage, maybe as white, it would manifest as like a bunch of ice shards that it gets launched at, as a cold damage sort of effect. But Barrage just does bludgeoning damage, but narratively maybe it's like hardened ice crystals that they hit and then they melt away, for instance. And while for the Orzhov character that chose to learn Conjure Barrage as a black spell, maybe when you cast it, just the soot and bone fragments fleeing at your opponent, for instance. Who knows? I don't know. But that's your challenge. You get to decide what these spells look like based on the color that you're using. So if you're going with a colorless system where you're just using mana points and color is just flavor, then Boros and Selesnya and Orzhov, they'd be able to use all of these spells just like you normally would, and the color is just a suggestion. It becomes flavor text. So when I cast Conjure Barrage as a Boros or as an Orzhov character, I would be using that white-black feel, but I'm just using generic mana to cast it. So there you go. But yeah, you can be hard-nosed like that and place limitations on yourself if you feel that the spellcasting characters are vastly more powerful than your martial characters. Then by imposing these limitations and restrictions on how to meta manage your spell supply and preparations, that's a way to reduce the power that spellcasters have over martials. But then I came to the conclusion that what we really need to do is have a mana system for the martial characters. So you guys can tag along. Here's the full playlist. Nope, that's the full playlist. Sorry. That's not what I was actually going to look at. The Martial Powers playtest content is here. Click that. I'm going to set a clock for myself because I need to put myself on that timer. It takes a little while for me to talk through all this stuff, and then we go. So here's the playtest. It's on my Patreon. You don't have to be a member, but if you click here on Martial Powers, it'll open up the Google Doc. It'll be read-only for you, but this is the same document that we work inside of. This is the Martial Powers system. This converts all martial characters into short rest manas, like a monk does, that you can then spend these as mana on martial effects, martial powers. So we've spent 160 some odd episodes basically building all of these powers and these systems. You can go back to the beginning of the playlist here, with the full playlist here, all 165 episodes. Again, if you think this stuff is cool and you want to see more of it in the future and see where this all goes, and then watch me build the book and illustrate it and then publish it, and then you can grab it yourself. Like and subscribe, please. Stick around, ask me questions. I'd love it. It'd be great. So last session we finished cleaning up the paladin. The paladin and the ranger in this system are using the same short rest mana system that monks do, which is 20 mana at 20th level, and you get that back on a short or long rest. So, and if you're pacing your game so that you're running 2 short rests a day, basically if you're doing 8 battles a day, you have 2 battles, take a short rest, 2 battles, take a short rest, 2 or 3 battles, take a short rest, and 2 battles, take a short rest, 2 or 3 battles, take a short rest, 2 or 3 battles, take a 3 battles, take a short rest, take a long rest, and then your day starts over again. If everyone's working on the same short rest mana supply, then the game can pace well together. You can just tempo your game around how often do they burn through resources and need to have a short rest. I'm drinking San Pellegrino today, blood orange. So forgive me for a second. Here, let me show you this one last thing, and then because we finished all the martial classes, but now there's a crossover that we do for the artificer and for the warlock. So today we're going to be working on the Spell Point Warlock. We're going to build it inside the Martial Powers book, but we're going to rebuild this book. The DMG, the new DMG comes out next month. So once the DMG publishes, they're going to have their toolbox of things. We'll see if they reprint spell points or not, and if they no longer print spell points in the DMG, then I don't need to worry about the DMG conversion for it. But this document will always be available for folks in the future. If you want to reference this, you can have it. This is the spell point system for the DMG. It uses the 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11 system that's goofy. With that system, a first level spell is 2 points and a 9th level spell is 13 points, which according to this means a 9th level spell is only 6.5 times more powerful than a first level spell. That's really dumb. I love you guys, and I love the IPs that you own, but this just doesn't make any sense to me. So the mana system, but it's here. Some people really think that if that's how if this is how Wizards did it, they know best. They don't. But this is what they did, and if you want to conform with what they did, then here's the option. And I present that front forward because people are going to automatically default to the DMG. But the spell point variant rules that we provide for color mana uses our universal spell point system, which is 1 per level, and you can upcast up to 10th level at 19th level, which is Wish is the only 10th level spell that exists in the game, and most full casters get some form of it when they get to 19th level. And then 20th level is a capstone feature that you basically get on top of if you take Wish. If like, what else would you spend your 10th level spell slot on? You have Wish. There you go. You can upcast something else if you want, but if you're going to learn a 10th level spell slot, the only one to learn is Wish. So there you go. Pretty easy. Everyone wants Wish. So we have rules about that, but we're not going to go into that today. Right now what we're looking at is the Pact mana is the same is the same short rest progression that all of our martial characters have. 1 point at first level, take a rest, get it back. There you go. A second level spell is 2 points. So at third level, when you get access to second level spells, you can cast 1 second level spell and 1 first level spell, and then you can take a rest and get them back. By the time you get to 9th level, when you have access to a 5th level spell, you have 9 mana, which is you can do 1 5th level spell and a 4th level spell, or a 5th and 4 first, or the 3 third, or however. It's spell points, man. Mix it up. Do what you want. But the thing is that you don't always have to upcast to the top level spell. If you've got first level spells that you want to cast, or second level spells that you want to cast, you can do that multiple times now. You can still have your 5th level spell cast as a 5th level spell at 9th level, and you've got 4 points left over to do all the other spells that you want. By 10th level, it balances out. You got 10 spell points, so you can do 2 castings of the 5th level spell, so it does skew like that a little bit. But then there's the Mystic Arcanum. So you keep learning spells, and obviously you'll dump Wish into your 10th level slot when you get to it. Assuming that you're using that. If you're not using high magic, if you're not using epic magic like that, then you can cap your mana at 30 at 17th, because a 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th level spell added together equals 30. So if you add the 10th level spell slot in, it becomes a max of 40 at 20th level. This is long rest mana. So the packed mana that you get on a short rest cannot be used to cast Mystic Arcanum. Only Arcanum points can be used to cast Mystic Arcanum. But if you wanted to, instead, you could use Arcanum points to cast more pack magic. So once you start getting your long rest battery, you're getting your 11 points at 11th level. You're getting 11 points back every short rest. And you're getting the extra 6 kicker whenever you finish a long rest that you could spend on a 6th level spell. But if you find in circumstances that you need to kick out an extra, another 2 third level spells, or whatever it is that you need to do, it's there for you to have it if you need it. So, and if you're taking the, if you're taking 2 short rests a day, like we recommend that you do, then that puts you at 80 mana over the course of the day. And then with this new spell class feature, that class feature in 2024, that you get all your mana back once a day at 20th level, that means that you be basically getting 100 mana a day, which is perfect. That's how much the sorcerer gets. That's what we've basically figured out. All the martial characters on average will get anywhere from 80 to 120 points depending on how they use it. So it averages out somewhere around 100 mana as well, with some variants. It's more like 90 to 110. This is about 4 sessions ago, so go check that out. But yeah, so this is the core chassis that we have. And like if you're doing like Boros, let's go back to Orzhov, white and black, right? Your pack mana, you could, the way that we have it built currently, and we might redo this, but the way that it's built currently is that you would have one color. You would pick one color for your pack magic. And then once you get to Mystic Arcanum, it would be the other. Mystic Arcanum would be both points. Or I think the way that we need to do it is pack mana can be one color or the other, but Mystic Arcanum is both. So it'd be white and black magic. You divide up your pool between white and black over here, and this would be both white and black. But I might just see what is important is that the pack magic, or the pack mana, can't be used to cast Mystic Arcanum points, while Mystic Arcanum can be used to cast Pact. So the best way to do that is when you build a Warlock character, regardless of what color a spell is listed on the spell list that I showed you. If this is an Orzhov Warlock, and they use white or black magic, white and black magic, they would choose white or black for their pack magic. So they're basically using only one color at first. And by the time they get to 11th level, their Mystic Arcanum spells will be the other color, regardless of what the color was. But the Mystic Arcanum points are both white and black. So like the pack mana would be white, Arcanum would be black, but the Arcanum points are both white and black. So you can always have, and you would only be able to have white mana in your pack magic, and you would only be able to have Mystic Arcanum spells as black. But they are, because they're being granted to you by your Warlock patron, the patron is set to what colors they are, right? So that's how you build that out. It's not as flexible or perhaps as in-depth or as interesting as other casters are, but warlocks are kind of like light casters, like a half caster that has access to high-level spells. So they're using a more simplified mana system than what a normal full caster would have. So that's the excuse that we use anyway, and it works out. And again, using that narrative element, even though the mana is only white, you can be depicting it as using white and black energies when you're casting the spell. If you're having that white weaved in there as your mechanic, you can add black to it as a narrative element. So, and then every time when you take a short rest, you can decide if it's white or black. You can swap it. It doesn't really matter. You can flip them around if you want to, because it's your warlock spells. Wizard spells, or spells from another, like when you're multi-classing, like my war cleric, Orzhov warlock, cleric warlock. The warlock spells are always going to be white, and the arcanum is always going to be black in this instance. But for my cleric side, I'm going to have white, blue, black, red, green options across the board. But since I'm playing Orzhov, I'm limited to only white and black. And my pack mana is only going to be white. But when I have my long rest mana for my cleric, that long rest mana can be any color that I want. So I could technically pour more black into my casting if I get access to Arcanum magic and I have cleric levels attached to me. I can use my long rest to have some of that mana be black, so I'd have more mana, but I'm still limited to the number of high magic I can cast per day. Up to 5 at 19th level, a 6th, a 7th, an 8th, a 9th, and a 10th. So even if I added a bunch of black mana in for my cleric and poured it into casting my Arcanum spells, I'm still limited on them. It just means I have a little bit more flexibility of being able to use my mana pool between my cleric and my warlock combined to be able to cast basically just more pack magic on a long rest cycle while still having my mana available for my high magic as well, unless I want to burn it down. Anyway, that's a really long diatribe, but that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about today. That's what's, because we've gotten through the half casters, we're now getting into building, looking like we've been doing for the past couple sessions, going through what does the warlock change, and what do we keep and what do we drop from the warlock? How does that evolve? So I'm going to go down here and we're just going to grab another scaffold here real quick. Term scaffold is something I picked up from Terran Pounds and Destructiboy about like how the class is built and structured and its cadence, so like how features climb up the levels. So hence a scaffold, right? It's a framework you can build on top of. So I'm going to drop down here past the fighter, the monk, the barbarian, the rogue, the ranger, the paladin. These are all done. And again, this is a read-only document. You guys can jump in here and mess with this right now. If you're playing a 5e 2024 game, you could grab any of these martial power characters, and all of the information you need is right here for you to look at. It's still just really raw. I haven't hired an editor yet. Well, I think I have an editor, but I don't have a guarantee right now. So I think I have an editor lined up. And so once I'm happy with the playtest, I just want to playtest it again from level 3 to... Oh, I already dropped the scaffold down in here. And it looks like we've already started messing around with it. So did we flesh this out already in a previous episode? And why is it so tall? Why is there so much space between everything? Is there like a... Sorry, this is really bothering me right now. Format, paragraph. I am no expert at all regarding how to use this. I just use Word doc because it's something easy to stream. So, and it gives you access to, to be able to see it online, of course. So, oh, there it is. Spacing, there we go. That feels better. It's better. All right, so let's see if we went through this all properly and have everything built out correctly. I feel like now that I've gone mad and that we've actually gone through this process before. But here we are. So let's just go to D&D Beyond. If we're retreading old ground, so be it. We're just doing a double check at this point, I guess, huh? So classes. No, wait a second. I don't think I've actually looked at it since it actually came out. I think I was looking at it from the Unearthed Arcana, but didn't have the actual lockdown guaranteed rules. So now that we do, I think, yeah, time to revisit. Eldritch Invocations, Pact Magic, Magical Cunning came in at level. Why did Magical Cunning come in at level 2 instead of level 1? Isn't that curious? Let's go see what's going on with Matt, because we get spells right away at first level. So why wouldn't we get magic? The only reason why we wouldn't get Magical Cunning at first level is because the monk didn't get their cunning until second level, and the sorcerer doesn't get their sorcery points until second. Like the monk doesn't get focus until second level, and the sorcerer doesn't get spell points, sorcery points until second level, and that's when their cunning features kick in. I think they're just doing it out of rote patterning. Why they wouldn't apply that same logic to subclass scaffolding is beyond me, but cheers. You can perform an Esoteric Rite for 1 minute. At the end of it, you regain expended pact spell slots, but no more than a number equal to half your maximum. Round up. You can perform an Esoteric Rite for 1 minute. At the end of it, you regain expended pact magic spell slots, but no more than a number equal to half your maximum round up. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Okay. So yeah, Magical Cunning at first level totally makes sense because we have monks and sorcerers being able to regain theirs at first level. So this just makes sense. First level, there you go. Once per long rest, get them back. Magical Cunning. Warlock features, level 1, oh my god, we even have it scaffolded correctly. Magical Cunning, as a 1 minute ritual, you can regain a total number of pact mana equal to your max level spell. You can cast as a Warlock. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so until you finish a long rest. And then Eldritch Master, when you use Magical Cunning, you regain all pact mana. Is that how that works? Eldritch Master. And then down here, you regain all expended magical spells. So, okay, back now. Okay, when you use Magical Cunning, Magical Cunning, as a 1 minute ritual, you can regain a total number of pact mana equal to the max level spell you can cast as a Warlock, which will be 1 at first level and 5 at 9th, and 5 is where pact mana. Oh wait, pact mana max spell level. So eventually it'll get up to 10. That's not bad. At 19th level it'll get to 10. So that's good. So it's at 80 and then 90 and then 100. There you go. And if it as a 1 minute ritual, right? That's once per day. 10 and then Eldritch Master, Magical Cunning, you regain all pact mana. Right. So it'll be up to 10 here and then 20 at 20th. Let's see. Okay, let's keep picking at stuff. Do we have the invocations scaffolded correctly? 1, 3, 5 at 5. 6 at 7, 7 at 9, 8 at 12. 9 at 15. 10 at 18. Good. And max level. Timely timer. Thank you. Timely timer. Max level spell. Interesting. Slot level. And then the Mystic Arcanum is, I guess, technically a spell. That's interesting. Huh. Yeah, because the spell slot and the spell level. Okay, that makes sense for the slots. Okay. We step over that language because we don't have to worry about the slot limitations. We have to divide between level 1 to 5 as common magic in one color, and then 6 through 10 as high magic in the other color. So, and you pick whatever colors you want, and all the spells are automatically going to be that color. Because that's how Warlocks work. Yum. All right. We could leave Magical Cunning at 2nd level, but everyone else gets that at first. It just feels right. And I think I think the irony is a little more delicious. Subclass feature. Hold on. Where is it? Eldritch Master. Yeah. Eldritch Master. So Eldritch Master is you get all of your mana back at level 20. And at level 1, it's you get back an amount of mana equal to the max level spell you can cast, which is 1. You only have 1 mana at 1st level. So this way, I think is a little more elegant. At 1st level, you get all of your mana back. At 20th level, you get all your mana back. I just think that's cool. So your Magical Cunning at 1st level is as powerful as it is at 20th level, and everywhere in between is a step upward. It's a step. Anyway, I just think that's cool. I personally just think that's cool. So, cool. Let's stay on top of the table here. We're going to be looking at how powers interact with the spellcaster, or the warlock. Warlock subclass, ASI, subclass feature, ASI, contact patron, subclass feature, Arcanum 6, Arcanum 7, ASI, subclass feature, Arcanum 8, ASI, Arcanum 9. Nothing at 18th level, so sad. Epic Boon. And Mystic Arcanum 10 from us. Wish. And then Eldritch Master we just talked about. And Epic Wish. Good. Arcanum points we know work perfectly like that. Pack mana 1 through 20. That's good. Prep spells. Double check that real quick. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 at 9. Got it. And then double step, double step, double step, double step, double step. 15 cap at 19. Cool. Okay, great. Those all work. Let's double check here real quick down here to see. The only thing we need to check in on is the contact patron feature. And then we can start looking at subclasses. We should look at invocations first. Eldritch invocations, pack mana, blah 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 blah. Contact patron. In the past, you usually contacted your patron through intermediaries. Now you can communicate directly You always have the contact other plane spell prepared. With this feature, you can cast the spell without expending a spell slot to contact your patron. And you automatically succeed on the spell saving throw. Once you cast the spell with this feature, you can't do so in this way again until you finish a long rest. A lot of times, I allow you to reuse abilities by spending mana to do so. Like, spend 5 points, you get to use the spell again. Makes sense. But contact other plane, I think, has a limitation on how often you can contact them anyway. Condition, other than spell, get a restoration until you end. Let me go to open link. I could swear. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. On a failed. Okay, so you mentally contact the demigod, the spirit of long dead sages, or some other knowledgeable entity from another plane. Contacting the ability intelligence can break your mind. When you cast this spell, make a DC 15 intelligence saving throw. On a successful save, you can ask the entity up to 5 questions. You must ask your questions before the spell ends. Duration is 1 minute. The DM answers each question with one word, such as yes, no, maybe so, irrelevant, unclear, whatever. If a one-word answer would be misleading, the DM might instead offer a short phrase as an answer. On a failed save, take psychic damage and are incapacitated in condition until you finish a long rest. Or greater restoration spell fixes it. Yeah, even though it doesn't specify in the spell itself that it is only once a day without penalties. I got a nub here on my nose. I'm scratching it off. Thank you. Yeah, okay, so the way that this works is if the feature is gone, you don't use it with martial powers. If it's here, but it's not listed down here, then it remains unchanged. If it's here and it's listed down here, detailed down here, then there are changes that you need to pay attention to, or it's a new feature you're unfamiliar with and you need to learn about. So that's the logistics behind like why something would be or not. Warlock class features, invocations. So let's get familiar with the invocations as our next task. And then once we educate ourselves on that, we can go in and convert these subclasses. And once we've done that, then we can, if they need conversion at all. And once we have that in hand, we'll have a little experience looking at how the formatting and nomenclature for warlocks are. We can then go into update the martial power invocations that we have. And after that, we can go into Pacts and Patrons and start rebuilding the subclass features and the scaffolding and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's going to be that's what we're starting now. So, I predict at 7 o'clock. I predict getting through the invocations, reworking the martial power invocations, and then potentially going through all of the 4 listed Patreon patrons here, but I can't guarantee we'll get through all of those. But when we do, then we'll just flow into the Pacts and Patrons book. So excited about that. I'm really excited about reformatting that book because there's some flaws in it that need to get fixed, some layout mistakes, and there's some artwork improvements that we can make to the thing now that I've had a little bit of time to sit on it for a while. I'm not happy with a lot of the pieces that are in there, and I want to betterfy everything. So blah, 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 better. That's what we're going to do. Give me a hot second here. Okay, invocations. Let's check them out. Choose one Warlock cantrip that deals damage. You can add your charisma modifier to that spell's damage. You gain this invocation more than once. Each time you do, choose a different eligible cantrip. You can add your charisma modifier to that spell's damage rolls. I just don't see Agonizing Blast being that big of a deal on True Strike, for instance. Who cares? It's the power of Agonizing Blast with Eldritch Strike, Eldritch Blast, is that you get 4 blasts. So you get, and each one is a separate die roll. So you can tag the same target 4 times with your charisma damage, as opposed to like True Strike is just 1 attack. That just adds your, that's not near, that's, yeah. It can't, even though Trent Monk is demonstrating that Warlock base is just way underperforming everything else. It's the, I don't know. Well, maybe True Strike's like extra D6 plus your charisma. Maybe that makes it worth it. It's basically just, it's basically like a great weapon strike, great weapmaster strike. Anyway, let's see what we can see. Repeatable aura, armor of shadow. Armor of shadow is you can cast mage armor on yourself without expending a spell slot. Cool. You can cast Levitate on yourself without expending a spell slot. Which just basically means you can do it. It doesn't say you can do it once. It just says you can do it. So you can levitate as often as you want. I love that. You can see normally in dim light and darkness, both magical up to 120 feet from yourself. Love it. Devouring Blade, 12th level. Thirsting Blade Invocation. Let's go look at the... Let's see. Well, we'll find out. Prerequisite 12 Warlock and Thirsting Blade. The extra attack of your Thirsting Blade invocation confers 2 extra attacks rather than 1. I don't know how happy I am that you're attempting to compete with the fighter in attack space, but it is what it is. It's eating up invocations to do it. So I see I see options. And it's super cool to see them. Its gift potential is so good. Eldritch Mind, you have advantage on Constitution saving throws that you make to maintain concentration. Because yes, Warlocks do have concentration. Eldritch Smite, Pact of the Blade. Did this require Eldritch Smite? Thirsting Blade. Does Thirsting Blade require Eldritch Smite? Requires Pact of the Blade invocation. Okay. Thirsting Blade, you gain the extra attack feature for your packed weapon only. With that feature, you can attack twice with the weapon instead of once when you take the attack action on your turn. Okay. I'm okay with that. I like that. What I really like, I've talked about this a number of times, but what I love is the Warlock as just the base chassis for all spellcasters. Like I've said in the past, I ran a druid level 1 to 20, and she was using Warlock pack magic and had all the invocations basically just be buffs and stuff to the wild shapes that she took on. And God, that was a lot of fun. So I'll probably publish a book of I'll probably publish like Oops All Warlocks or something like that. Stupid title like that. Oops All Warlocks. That's a horrible title, and I love it. But it would basically be convert all your characters into Warlocks, so everyone in the game is using short rest. There you go. So let's see. What were we doing? Right. We were up here. So yeah, I like that. Was that? We'll find out. I like that it's back a level. So I suspect that means that Thirsting Blade is a 6th level invocation. I didn't check. Let's double check. No, it's 5+. Huh? Weird. There's no cadence there. Is it because you don't get an invocation until 12? Is that it? Huh. There you go. Invocations. Yeah, you don't get one at 11. That's why it's 12. You get one at 5, but not 11. You don't get one at 6, but at 12. Okay, I see your madness. There we go. Eldritch Mind. Constitution saving throws. You have advantage on Constitution saving throws that you make to maintain concentration. That is better than the Warcaster's concentration, but you still don't have. But Warcaster gives you the spell of opportunity, the opportunity casting. Thank you. Eldritch Smite. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with a packed weapon, you can expend a packed magic spell slot to deal an extra D8 force damage to the target, plus another D8 per level spell slot, and you can give the target the prone condition if it is huge or smaller. Invocation, Eldritch Smite replaces Eldritch Smite. Prerequisite, comma. When do I get invocations? I don't see a reason to hold back. Well, when do you get access to the Pack of the Blade? That's pretty much going to set it. Oh, no prerequisite. But it does require a Pact of the Blade. And you don't get another invocation until second. So that makes sense. Pact of the Blade. Good enough. Replaces Eldritch Strike. Prerequisite, Pact of the Blade. We're going to call it second level. Because Pact of the Blade you get at first level, so you wouldn't have enough invocations to be able to pick this up and Pact of the Blade until second level anyway, so I may as well make it second level. So it doesn't seem like it's forgotten. You can learn you can use an invocation to, well, what's the wording that we see up here? Oh, that's what we need. Max level. Pack mana. Right. Choose item. Down the artificer again. Stay away from the Kearney. I'm gonna make some more space. There. You can use an invocation. You learn. One strike power. Up to the max rank of power you can channel. And even though a Warlock gains spellcasting as a spellcaster 1 to 5, 1 to 9, ranks of power always gain on a half stack. So that's something we explained earlier that we'll have to go back up to and look at real quick, but I'm just chewing on this real quick since we're looking at it. You learn 1 strike power up to the max rank gained as a Warlock. You can take this invocation more than once, learning an additional strike with each invocation. Hey! Extra pack boon. We no longer need the extra pack boon invocation because that's we just made pack boons invocations. So that's fantastic. Invocation, empowered blasts. I think I'm still going to keep the boons. I think I'm still going to have pack boons separated. Maybe they just call it boon. No, they call it a pact, don't they? Pact of the something or other. Pack. There's a peck here pointing an acorn at me. Pack. Okay, so they're all going to be pacts. So when we go into... Oh, here, I'll show you. I'll show you how Pacts and Patrons looks right now. Because this is coming up on our chopping block pretty damn fast. So Pacts and Patrons, here you go. Open that up. Beep. So like you can see, each of the each guild is formatted as a patron. Your expanded spell list you get, like for Azorius, for instance. Here's your expanded Azorius list. You gain decrees and binding authority, protected by law, illustration by me. Binding of Azorius, binding authority. We've used binding too much in one sentence, I think. I need to swap that up. But I love this. I love most of this. It's a little rough, but I like how it's built, and I like how the chains are working with the background color. So that was really fun to do. It's basically erasing. That smudge work is so much fun. This was such a fun thing to build. God damn, this was such a fun project. But yeah, so each guild has its own patron, and here's today's sponsored illustration that we created from Photoshop in Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica for a Spell Point Warlock. And here is the bundle for the color mana spell points that we have, and here's the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book that we built. We're gonna rework Theurgy now that I've had a lot more time working with ability checks as a master system. So I want to reapproach this. I think I need to rebrand this, and I just want to reintroduce it. But I love this book. I think it can have more to it. So we're probably gonna go back and fix it. And then Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica, that's what we're working on right now. And Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica obviously goes hand in hand with Spell Point Warlock. So we do offer it as a... here's a bunch of artwork in the book. It's such a great book. Here's a bundle that we created with it, with Spell Point Warlocks and Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica. So you can buy these things on discount. But going back to the full preview, again, all my books are full previews. Scroll down. And we get to invocations. Oops. Where do we go from here, huh? You tell me, buddy. Here we go. Boom. So this would be labeled as new. This will now be labeled as new invocations, and I think we'll have pacts, and then other invocations. Is probably how I'll organize it, because we have 5 pacts that we've created, and then each pact has 5 new invocations that use that pact as its prerequisite. Cauldron. So then this will now be relabeled as Cauldron Pact invocations, like additional tonics. Like the Cauldron allows you to make potions or tonics, basically. So additional tonics, you can make more than normal. Anti-venom is you can neutralize poison. Persistent tonics, you can increase the duration of your tonics. Instead of being like 10 minutes, instead of lasting an hour, it lasts 8 hours. Spell Tonic, if it's a concentration spell, you can now drink it as a potion. And Swift Brew is you can reduce the time taken to create a tonic to being a single action. So normally it takes, I think, a minute to brew them. Yeah. So anyway, so we have 5 different packs, and we have a ton of, like, 30 new invocations in the back end. These are all, now we can take both, we had in here extra pack boon. We don't need the extra pack boon anymore because packs are now considered to be, pack boons are now considered to be invocations. So we can remove that extra pack boon language, which is great. But yeah, we got like 30 some odd invocations in here that are inspired by various Magic the Gathering cards. And then, well, there you go. So back to the front here. But yeah, this is, I love, this was such a cool book. But there's some glow ups that we can do for a lot of different pieces inside here that can just be improved. Like this one's pretty rough, and yeah, I can do that better. This one's pretty damn good though. I'm still happy with that. Yeah, that was a really good piece. But yeah, something could use improvement. So that's what we'll be working on. So, but that gives you an idea of our organization and what it is that we're looking at. So let's get this out of the way here, and just gonna close this out because we don't need it on anymore. Down here, Eldritch Power. All right, let's finish getting through the invocations just so I know what it is we're getting into, and then we'll start rebuilding. If necessary, we'll start rebuilding our subclasses. Devil's Sight, Ascendant Step. Agonizing Blast, sure. Armor of Shadow, Ascending Step, Devil's Sight, Devouring. That's what we were. Eldritch Might. Good. Eldritch Blast. That's right. Eldritch Smite. Eldritch Smite is only, it gives you 2d8 at the front end. Ours is less. It's only 1d8. It's only at first level it's only 1d6 per mana. But again, by the time you get to like 3rd level, you're going to be doing 3d6, 46, 5d6, 66. And then by the time you get to 9th level, it's d8s instead of d6s. So now you're on even par. 9th level, you do 5d8. So, Eldritch Spear. Choose one of your Warlock cantrips that deal damage and has a range of 10 plus feet. When you cast that spell, interesting that they don't use the language and has a range of 10 plus feet. When you cast that spell, its range increases by a number of feet equal to 30 times your Warlock. Holy shit. That's a neat way of wording that. Its range increases by a number of feet equal to 30 times your Warlock level. That is a piece of mechanics I did not anticipate seeing. I think that's the first time I've seen that language introduced. Is that a unique? I think that's a unique instance of that use. This is also an encouragement to people out there to build class features that scale distance and levels, like auras, area of effects, cones, lines, ranged attacks. This is basically saying you're allowed to do that, but that's also really complicated. This gets away from that binary sort of feel that's kind of baked into 5e in general of either it is or it isn't, or you can or you can't, or yes or no. This is a scaling that's different from anything else that we've seen before. Normally it's like, this is your range. Your range is not like in the Devil's Side above. It's like your range increases to 120 feet. It's not like it was 5 feet times the level of your character. It was just a blanket 120 feet, but it could have been, right? So it's oddly inconsistent. I'm guessing 600 feet is pretty far. It's good for ship-to-ship combat in Spelljammer, so I ain't displeased. But 300 feet at 10. You got 18th level to hit 500. I don't know. Anyway, Repeatable. When you gain this invocation more than once, each time you do so, change a different eligible. Choose a different eligible cantrip. Got it. So okay, 1 per, just like with the agonizing blast. Fiendish Vigor. You can cast False Life on yourself without expending a spell slot. When you cast a spell with this feature, you don't roll the die for the temporary hit points. You automatically get the highest number on the die. Hey, that's really cool. That's a nice feature too. Okay. Level 2 plus Warlock. I like that. Gaze of Two Minds. You can use a bonus action to touch a willing creature and perceive through its senses until the end of your next turn. As long as the creature is on the same plane of existence as you, you can take a bonus action on subsequent turns to maintain this concentration, extending the duration until the end of your next turn. The connection ends if you don't maintain it this way. While perceiving through the other creature's senses, you benefit from any special senses possessed by that creature, and you can cast spells as if you were in your space or the other creature's space if the two of you are within 60 feet of each other. Interesting way of wording that. I like it. That's Echo Knight language, by the way. Like that could be Echo Knight language for swapping with like making opportunity attacks from either your position or your echoes. You can use a bonus action to touch a willing creature and perceive through its senses until the end of your next turn, as long as the creature is on the same plane of existence as you, and you can take a bonus action on subsequent turns to maintain this connection, extending the duration until the end of your next turn. Connection ends if you don't maintain it this way. This was a Dimir feature that we basically created. We'll go look at it eventually. While perceiving through the other creature's senses, you can benefit from any special senses possessed by that creature. You can cast spells as if you were in your space or the other creature's space with the two of you, if the two of you are within 60 feet of each other. Gift of the Depth. You can breathe underwater, and you gain a swim speed equal to your own speed. You can also cast water breathing once without expending a spell slot. You gain the ability to cast it this way, again, when you finish a long rest. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's saying that you add this spell to your list. But, so, Gift of Protector, a new page appears in your Book of Shadows. When you conjure it with your permission, a creature can take an action or write its name on that page, which can contain a number of names equal to your Charisma modifier. When any creature whose name is on the page is reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, the creature magically drops to 1 hit point instead. Once the magic is triggered, no creature can benefit from it until you finish a long rest. As a magic action, you can erase the name from the page by touching it. Nice, okay. I like it. And level 9, when you have Revivify. Makes sense. Oh no, that'd be 5th level, that'd be Raised Dead. It's a reaction. Neat. Investment of the Chainmaster. When you cast Find Familiar, you infuse the Summon Familiar with a measure of your Eldritch power, granting it the following benefits. Familiar gains either a fly speed or swim speed at 40 feet. Quick attack. As a bonus action, you can command the Familiar to take the attack action. Necrotic or radiant damage. Whenever the creature deals poison, bite, slashing, piercing, you can make it deal necrotic or radiant damage instead. Your save DC is the familiar forces. If the familiar forces a creature to make a saving throw, it uses your spell save DC.
And resistance, investment of the Chain Master. Okay. And resistance, your familiar takes damage. When your familiar takes damage, you can take a reaction to grant it resistance against that damage. Great, love it. Lessons of the first ones. You have received knowledge of an elder entity of the multiverse, allowing you to gain one origin feat of your choice. Repeatable. You can gain this invocation more than once. Each time you do so, choose a different origin feat. And then lessons of the ages would be level 4+ Warlock. And then epic lessons would be prerequisite level 19. You can learn an additional epic boon. We'll see if those pop up. Life Drinker. Once per turn when you hit a creature. I'd better write that down. Original feat. Blah, blah, blah. So far, I don't need to change any of these. These are, well, we replaced Eldritch Strike with the Eldritch Power, or Eldritch, is it called Eldritch Smite now? Is it still called Eldritch Smite? I should have paid attention to that. Yeah, Eldritch Smite. Eldritch Strike replaces Eldritch Smite. There you go. Eldritch. So far, everything's fine. Get the Protector, that's cool. Investment of the Chain, that's great. Lessons of the first ones, that's fine. Life Drinker. Once per turn, when you hit a creature now with a pack weapon, you can deal an extra d6 necrotic, psychic, or radiant damage of your choice to the creature, and you can expend one of your hit point dice to roll it and regain a number of hit points equal to the roll plus your Constitution modifier. And again, I don't have any reason to get rid of that. Life Drinker, that's on its own track. That's totally cool. I'm fine with that. Your hit point dice. I hate it. But it's called hit point dice. So let's go down to the barbarian where we have language about hit point dice, and let's update our language for hit point dice. Can I say it with you again now one more time? Hit point dice. Hit point dice. Where is my... I'm going mad over here. As a bonus action, you can sacrifice any number of hit point dice. Hit point dice. Up to your max rank of power gained as a barbarian to regain an equal number of mana. As a bonus action, you can sacrifice any number of hit point dice up to your max rank of power gained as a barbarian. To regain an amount of a number of mana equal to dice sacrificed instead of rolling to regain hit points. Period. Cool. Otherwise, Life Drinker, I'm fine with it. It's very limited. It just doesn't hit points equal to your hit point dice to roll. You can expend once per turn when you hit a creature with your packed weapon. Yeah, there's D6 hit points. That's insanely safe. So fine. We generally don't let you regain hit points through damaging things. You get temporary hit points, not actual healing. All right, keep it going. Mask of Many Faces. You can cast Disguise Self without expanding a spell slot. Love it. You can cast Alter Self without expanding a spell slot. Love it. Cast Silent Image. When you're in an area of dim light or darkness, you can cast Invisibility on yourself without expending a spell slot. Cool. Otherworldly Leap. You can cast Jump on yourself without expending a spell slot. There's a lot of things you can do without expending a spell slot. Pact of the Blade. As a bonus action, you can conjure a packed weapon in your hand, a simple or martial melee weapon of your choice with which you bond. Or create a bond with a magic weapon you touch. You can't bond with a magic weapon if someone else is attuned to it, or another warlock is bonded to it until the bond ends. You have proficiency with the weapon, and you can use it as a spellcasting focus. Whenever you attack as a spellcasting focus. Whenever you attack with the bonded weapon, spellcasting focus. That's the language I need for the Eldritch Knight and Arcane Trickster, so hold on real quick. As an spellcasting focus. Spellcasting focus. Creature is bound to you. It is the same plane of existence as you. You can use bonus action to summon the object to your hand, and the object cannot be disarmed while you hold it unless you are incapacitated. You can have up to 2 bonded items. Do I mention it? Spellcasting focus. There you go. You can use any object you have formed a bond with using the War Bond feature as a spellcasting focus. And so Arcane Trickster will also need similar language. There you go. Okay, that's straight. Back to the blade. Whenever you attack with the bond. Okay, so bond, blonde. Whenever you attack with a bonded weapon, you can use your charisma modifier for the attack and damage rolls instead of using your strength or dexterity, and you can cause the weapon to deal necrotic, psychic, or radiant damage, or its normal damage type. I could lift that. You can cause or the normal weapon damage type. You can cause blank or the normal weapon damage type. Or the normal weapon damage type. Is that right? Or the normal weapon damage type? Or it's normal. You can deal, or the weapon's normal damage type. Or the weapon's normal damage type. Your weapon can deal force damage. Now, we cover it with the can deal. Your weapon deals additional damage. weapon deals of additional damage per mana channeled, and the creature is frightened, bloody blah. That's good language. Of additional damage per mana blink. Yeah, cool. Got it. Okay. Your bond with your weapon ends if you use this feature's bonus action again. Oh, got it. Packet of the chain. Learn to find familiar spell and you can cast it as magic action without spending a spell slot. Ooh, cast it as an action. That's good. When you do, choose one of the following critters. Additionally, when you take the attack action, you can forgo one of your attacks to allow your familiar to make the one attack on its own with its reaction. Bonus action above, of course. Pact of the Tomes, stitching together strands of shadow. You conjure forth a book in your hand at the end of a short or long rest. Your Book of Shadows contains eldritch magic that only you can access, granting you the benefits below. The book disappears when you conjure another book with this feature, or if you die. Cantrip rituals. When the book appears, choose 3 cantrips and choose 2 level 1 spells that have the ritual tag. The spells can be from any class's spell list, and they must be spells you don't already have prepared. While the spell is on your person, you have the chosen spells prepared, and they function as Warlock spells for you. You can use this book as a spellcasting focus. Conjure forth a book in your hand at the end of a short or long rest. This Book of Shadows contains eldritch magic that only you can access, granting you the following benefits below. The book disappears, blah. When the book appears, choose 3 cantrips and choose 2 level 1 spells that have the ritual tags. The spells can be from any class's spell list, and they must be spells you don't already have prepared while the book is on your person. Oh, so this lets you swap 3 cantrips and 2 ritual spells every time you finish a short or a long rest. I love that. That is incredibly versatile, and it opens up opportunities. If we wanted to have language about being able to swap a prep power whenever you finish a short rest, it is literally right here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to implement because I wanted to have short rest power swaps anyway. The Warlock won't be able to do that, but the martial classes will. Whenever you finish a short rest, you can swap 1 power. The Battle Master can swap it like in a minute. Pact of the Tome. Yep, that was super cool. Repelling Blast. That reminds me. Let's get up here while we're still in it. Barbarian Spire's rank can swap a number of powers when you finish a long rest equal to the max rank of power you have gained. You can swap 1 power when you finish a short rest.
And now let's go back to the fighter, battle master. Student of War. You get, in addition, when you finish a short rest, you can swap a number of. Now let's do it like this. In addition, as a 1 minute ritual, you can swap a prepared power for a new one. You can do this once per short rest. That's great. You can do this once. Regaining when you finish a short or long rest period. Right, save that. Get back into our dog. Not a ritual, meditation. There. Hey, repelling blast. What a good one. So when you hit a large or smaller target with a cantrip, you can push the creature up to 10 feet straight away from you. There you go. Repeatable. More than once. Different cantrip. Thirsting Blade. We saw this earlier. 5. Pack Blade. You gain extra attack. I love that. You attack twice when you take the attack action. Visions of Distant Realms. You can cast Arcane Eye without expanding spell slot. God, that means you can just cast Arcane Eye like over and fucking over again. That's... love that. Let's go up here to see if there wasn't a caveat that I missed. There's some sort of like qualifying language something. Eldritch Invocations options appear in alphabetical order. Okay, let's go up to Invocations to see if there's some sort of something going on about it. Eldritch Invocations. You have unearthed invocations, pieces of forbidden knowledge that imbue you with an abiding magical ability or other lessons. You gain one invocation of your choice, such as Pact of the Tome. Prerequisites of a prerequisite Zerbla. Replacing gaining invocations. Whenever you gain a Warlock level, you can replace one of your invocations with another one for which you qualify. You can't replace an invocation if it's a prerequisite or another invocation that you have. When you gain certain Warlock levels, you gain more invocations, and you can't pick the same invocation more than once unless it says you can, and it doesn't say anything about limitations on spells that you can cast without a spell slot. So, freaking cheers, that's awesome. Packed. Packed the Blade, packed the Chain, packed the Tome. Visions of the Distant Realm. Whispers of the Grave. You can cast Speak with Dead without expanding spells. So you can just infinite talk to the dead, which is a feature that we had for the Orzhov Warlock. So happy to see that will free up a little bit of space.
Which side? You have true sight with a range of 30 feet. Nope. There you go. Okay, so all those make sense to me. That's great. So let's go back in here. We want to simplify the world. Invocations Eldritch Strike replaces Eldritch Smite. Prerequisite level 2 plus Warlock, Pact of the Blade. We have invocations and Power Blast. Prerequisite Blade of the Blade, Pact of the Blade. Eldritch. You can channel a strike power. No, okay, so we're going to get rid of the Empowered Blast thing because Eldritch Blast is no longer hard-coded. Isn't supposed to be hard-coded to the Warlock, so we're going to skip that. Invocation Eldritch Power. You can choose to learn one exploit, maneuver, or reaction. We're going to get rid of Sustained. Exploit, maneuver, or reaction power. Up to the max rank of power, you can channel as a Warlock. You can use invocation. Comma, learning, and additional power. With each invocation, period. I mean, that's two. Do we need more than that? No. I guess no, we really don't. We'll just pocket these two things and just add them to the Spell Point Warlocks in general. Just because it makes sense. But yeah, we can include it here. Invocation. Lessons of the Forgotten Gods. You learn one strike power up to the max rank. Of power. You can channel as Warlock. Rank of power you can channel as a Warlock. You gained as a Warlock, thank you. Because if you multi-class, Warlock blends. As long as you have a an invocation with power, you have ranks of power, so you can lean into that. Itchy. There we go. Yeah, simple. Very simple. Okay, cool. Let's move on to subclasses then. I'll just go pilfer some language up here. Just like that.
Warlock subclasses. Where are we at? 7:49. How long have we been doing this? Hour and 40 minutes. Okay. I'm gonna be back tomorrow at lunch. So let's. Let's do one subclass, and then we'll pick up the rest of them tomorrow. So I'll be back tomorrow at lunch, around. Well, I'll be back tomorrow morning for more Eberron artwork, but at lunchtime tomorrow, I'll probably be around. I think it's gonna be around 2:00, Seattle time, which will be 5:00 East Coast. That feels about right. I'll double check that and let you guys know tomorrow morning. So just keep an eye on my Twitter and swing by on tomorrow morning, and I'll tell you guys when I'll be live again. So and it'll be tomorrow at lunch, and we are not going to finish this today. We're going to do some Archfey patron, Archfey. So now we have level and spells. What is it? 3579. If a feature isn't detailed below, it remains unchanged as written in the PHP. So the spells are unchanged, I don't need to mention, but I do see the Calm Emotion is second, Fairy Fire is first, Misty Step is second, Phantasmal Force is second, Sleep is first. 1, 2, 3, 4, fucking 5. You get a second level spell, a first level spell, a second level spell, a second level spell, and a first level spell. Is that consistent? Is that how we do things now? Second level spell, first level spell, first level spell, second level spell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fucking 6. Cantrip. That's a cantrip. That's a cantrip. That's a second level spell. That's a first level spell. That's a first level spell. That's a second level spell. So I guess a cantrip is considered a first level spell in balance. Okay, 5. Interesting. 1, 2, but this one only gets 4. Second level, first level, first level. Third level? No, okay. Second level, thank you. Second level, first level, second level, first level. Okay. And if we get done with the Warlock, if we get done with these subclasses tomorrow during lunch, we'll go back through and we'll fix the artificer. Archfey. Here we go. Steps of the Fae. Your patron grants you the ability to move between the boundaries of the planes. You can cast Misty Step without expending a spell slot a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. In addition, whenever you cast that spell, you can choose one of the following additional effects. Oh Refreshing step. Immediately after you teleport, you or one creature you can see within 10 feet of yourself gains D10 temporary hit points. Taunting step. Creatures within 5 feet of the space you left must succeed a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC or have disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures other than you until the start. I don't have a reason to change that. Misty Escape. You can cast Misty Step as a reaction in response to taking damage. As a reaction in response. Interesting wording. You can cast Misty Step as a reaction in response to taking damage. I like that wording. As a reaction in response. As a reaction in response to taking damage. As a reaction in response. Let me grab that real quick. As a reaction in response. You can act as a reaction in response to Y, period. As a reaction in response to Y. Okay, that's cool. I like that. I'm not seeing change. I'm not seeing requirement. None of this stuff says for the martial power system, I don't have to change this stuff. It doesn't have to. Spells work like spells work, as written in the book. All we're doing is changing the power supply to do it with. That's different from martial powers. Martial powers has its own rules. It's martial power, not spellcasting. Spellcasting doesn't have to follow a structured D6, D8, D10, D12 mechanic by tier. It can just do what it wants to do when it wants to do it. It doesn't have to make sense. It's spellcasting. Spellcasting doesn't make sense. That's the fun thing. Martial powers are very structured, linear progression and power that you gain. And it's very predictable what it's going to be able to do with what you can do with it. It's reliable. It's not chaotic. It doesn't require concentration. There's no chance of failure with it. It can't be countered. You turn it on and it stays on. It's very, very reliable, repeatable magic. While spellcasting is crazy batshit. It's fucking crazy batshit crazy. So you can't rely on it. So far, none of these things need to change. Getting free spells, I don't mind. That works out with the mana curve with everyone else. So you may as well get some free spellcasting. Bob's your uncle. And I like the Despairing Step, and I like the Dreadful Step. Those are both great. That's level 3. That's 6. This is, what, 11? Your patron teaches you how to guard your mind and body. You are immune to the charm condition. Cool. In addition, immediately after a creature you can see hits you with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to reduce the damage. You can take a reaction. How'd that go? Did it say in response to blank? You can take a reaction to Y. Yeah, that works. As a reaction in response to Y. Immediately after X, you can take a reaction to Y. Like for Tripping Strike, immediately after an enemy is knocked prone, you can take a reaction to make an opportunity attack. For instance. So we can work that language out, but so far I'm still not seeing the changes necessary. This is all good. I mean, this all sits pretty. Your patron grants you the ability to weave your magic with teleportation immediately after you cast an enchantment or illusion spell using an action and a spell slot.
You can cast Misty Step as part of the same action and without expending a spell slot. Wow, that's insane. Okay, cool. So we need caveat. When a feature provides when a feature requires you to spend a spell slot is the language that is using literally use a spell slot? Expend a pack spell. Okay, got it. Pack magic spell slot. Expend a pack magic spell slot. When a feature requires you to expend a pack magic spell slot, you instead expend a number of packed mana equal to the level when a feature requires you to expend a pack mana spell slot to use, instead if a feature requires you to expend a packed mana spell slot to use, it instead requires you to expend packed mana. Feature is not used with Spell Point Warlocks. It's been removed from the features list above. If a feature is new or has been modified, if a feature has been modified with Point Warlocks, has been modified, if a feature has been modified or is new, it's described below. There, and if a feature requires you to use a pack mana spell slot to to use. It instead requires you to expend pack mana. Clean enough. And then we go down to here, and is there literally nothing on the Archfey list that needs to be changed? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with you having free spell castings when you're using mana, even though your mana is far more flexible. And the reason they give you free uses of the spells because they know that spell slots are too restrictive, but they're strapped with it because of the legacy of spell slots. They know spell points are better. They have to use spell slots because of legacy. So they're trying to find a way to give you more resources without giving you more spell slots to abuse. Instead, they're giving you thematic spells with free uses so that you use them because it doesn't cost you anything to use them. So spell points don't need that. But I don't have any reason to fight it. So we're gonna let it go. If martial characters can get free mana, then spellcasters can have free spells. That just seems fair. So spellcasters don't get free mana, but they get free spells. Martial characters, they don't get free spells, but they get free mana. So that's pretty cool. Okay, great. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut stream here. We're gonna go back through tomorrow. We're gonna thumb through the rest of these patrons to see if any of them actually need any kind of modification. And assuming that they don't, we can let them go, and then we'll finish at lunch tomorrow. We'll finish up the artificer. I'll go through the same thing we went through here, and we'll be back tomorrow morning for Eberron art, Wednesday morning for Eberron art. Then that'll be it for the day. So on Tuesday, Eberron art in the morning, and then Warlock and Artificer at lunch tomorrow. Wednesday, just morning art. Thursday, morning art, and then evening stream like this, we'll be working on Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica. And then on Friday, we'll probably continue Pacts and Patrons. And then on Saturday, our workbench, we'll either work on Eberron stuff or Pacts and Patrons or maybe Spell Point Sorcerer, who knows. It's my workbench. I'll work on whatever I want on Saturday. So I'm going to go ahead and kick out of here now. It's 8 o'clock. That's going to give me a couple hours to work on the Eberron page layouts for the adventure we've been building in the mornings. And I've been showing you some looks at that, and I'm really, really happy with where we're coming along with that now. It's going to be really freaking cool. So I'm out of here for now. If you think this stuff is cool, drop by my Discord, put me on Patreon, follow me on the X Twitter platform, like, subscribe, bell icon. Pick up some of my books, and if you like them, buy them. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you on the other side.